Kia ora, my name is We Taepa. I've been supposed 30 years ago. I started working with clay, and the reason why it was army, and worked into the jails, and then into social welfare. And it was while I was in there that I got interested in clay because I needed a material that could stretch the boys, but they weren't afraid to break anything because I could put it back in water, reconstitute it, and start again. And the other important thing is that I had no sharp tools around me, so that if someone was, brassed off at the beginning of the day, I didn't have to worry about my back getting stabbed. It was like I'd go to the Libyan pottery on a Monday night, and what I learned on a Monday night, I'd teach them on a Tuesday. So and it built and built and built, and then I was invited to do a workshop on carving stone in Wanganui, and there I met a guy called George Kogas. He was instrumental in me carrying on with clay, and he was an interesting character. He's still alive, lives in Turangi, but the thing was that he made things so simple for me. So simple it was that all you needed to know was the thickness between your finger and your thumb. But I kept everything quite simple. And I got to the stage where I was confident enough about working in front of people. And that is how in 1995 I was asked to come to the hui, and I've been coming ever since. I've been Paerau, to Hawaii. I've been all over the place, America, and it's taken me to a lot of places where you're learning about other indigenous people and the way they think about some of the issues that we have back here and in Aotearoa. We, didn't really have a culture in working with clay. Although we worked with kokowai, and the old people would add the kokowai to oil and for preserving, but they would also cover their bodies. But the people that had passed away, they would wait for a year and then take the body out, the bones out, clean the bones, and then put the kokowai on it, and then that's when they would have the funeral, the tangi. It turned around to be an unveiling now because of the rules and regulations of health and things like that. But there are still people in this world that do that practice. When I first started, you go to these different workshops. Because I was taught at Whitireia Polytech, I did a course in art, craft and design. And there was 3 subjects. And coming to a place like this is like coming to, for a kid being in a chocolate bloody factory, because there's so many things around here. I would take my boys with me and take them to the gatherings. And especially if they were, quite close to home and things like that. And then they went to Te College. They carried on to their art. Then now they're quite proficient artists. They get big commissions and things like that to be done in public places. But the thing is that it all started from these huis. That it because they would see everything and they'd soak everything in. I remember one time I was carving this rock and it was hot, so I sat down and my son, Paerau, the youngest one, walked around and he looked at the rock that I was carving and he said, "Hey Dad, you need to knock a hole through there, between there and there." I said, "What for?" He said, "I'd make it more 3-dimensional." So there was things that gave me warning signs. Wait a minute, these fellas are onto it, they're using their eyes, you know. And that's the thing is, the pity thing is that we're closed, you know, mainly closed up for art schools in New Zealand now. Now, you know, like, and I can prove that art contributed to having the knowledge of the whakapapa behind each, you know, like you say clay. All right, we never use clay. Clay is in paint. It's, you know, and there's other minerals, things like that. So we use the clay in a different way. When we were cooking, you know, why make a pot when you could just get clay, slap it around a pigeon, or better not say pigeon, that's 10 grand's worth. We'll say a chicken, and put it on the fire, all right? And then when it's steaming and everything and it's all cracked, you just open the clay that you've formed around the chicken, and out comes the feathers. You know, it's all stuck in the thing, and all you've got left is the meat. The clay, yes, we did use it, as far as I'm concerned. The way that we used it constantly was where our fortifications were and where we would build those fortifications, and that was in clay, like it was in Mother Earth, Papa Turnip. See, so you got to sort of broaden your ideas and thinking about, you know, a pot's a pot, you know. But in that pot, if you look down to it and you have a closed one, you know, like a very, is all you can look into it, and all you can see is darkness. From darkness to kore. Then you come out, you get an idea, you know, it's in darkness. You get an idea, bring it out, the almarama, and then to the finished product. And the finished product has come from the dark. We all belong to a group of people, a group of people called Kaihanga Uku. And Kaihanga Uku was formed in around about 85, I think, at artists and writers, and Manos Nathan and Baye Riddell. They were the first two that went overseas on a scholarship, Fulbright scholarship. And then it was maybe 2 or 3 years later I went over, and I was invited to participate in a working with a gallery, and I ended up running a workshop with these Indians who had years, centuries of traditional pots that they made, you know, and they had, you know, they would cook in them and things like that. So I haven't got there yet, but I will be making pots that I can cook with, crockery, yeah. And then it takes on a whole another life. But if it's done on a marae, all right, and they've got clay on that marae, and they can make them. If it breaks, they can make another one. You know, so that there's a constant supply for them. Getting back to Kaihanga Uku, that's one of the things that I'm trying to address in my own way, with my own work. I'm quite loose with it, and one of my first tools that I made was with a nail, and I put it into a piece of wood, because apparently, you know, the first thing that they started trading us with Māori was nails. So I put a hook on it, and then I would scribe into the pot, you know, and I would use squares and triangles and everything like that. There's some side issues, you know, that I've got in my life that I think about, and I think about it through making vessels that will hold those stories instead of holding. But I've and working with, you know, a lot of our cliff whiting and paramatchit and Sandy adds it, just to name a few, Derek Lardeli, steeped in whakapapa, more tia, and everything like that. When you start listening to those people and thinking about your own work, then even those people with that sort of knowledge give me an idea that I can use working with uku. Just carry on, just one thing to another. So, kia ora koe.